Hey lovely, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're well. It's been some time since I last did my live stream. I think it's probably been 4 weeks, so I'm a bit rusty, so bear with me. But I will be on live streams again regularly because we are back in the office after some training and some time off as well. So lots of changes that I'll be coming through. A lot of you ladies have asked about the group coaching program. So if you do want details on that, reach out to me. You can message me on my Facebook profile or just on my Facebook page and get information on that. It's a 12-week program and it's called Master Your Emotions, and it's a program where I'll be able to help you release any trapped emotions and any traumas that are trapped, for you to live the life that you want. The big goals there, it won't be just about trauma related or trapped emotions related. It'll be, creating the outcome that you want in life in a specific area of your life. Could be relationships, could be family, or it could even be business or careers. So that's the Master Your Emotions. If you've never been able to invest in my one-to-one, this is a good one for you because you'll be getting pretty much the same amount of experience and results in the group program. So really excited, and it will be limited places available, and I've been emailing people this week, so make sure you get involved because it's probably a quarter of the price, less than a quarter of the price that you would pay for my one-to-one. So really high value and really accessible, just because it's on pilot. So make sure you reach out and get that, because we'll be starting in about 2 weeks time, I think, just over 2 weeks. So what to do if you really dislike or hate somebody. I had to use the word hate. Don't really use it generally, but for the purpose of the title, for the purpose of what connects with most people, and they don't want to hate this person. So this is for you if you really hate someone and you don't want to hate them. So I'm talking about here like minor emotions where there's been some disagreement towards this person that you wish you didn't have, or you've just seen some behaviours that you wish you didn't, and somehow you don't like them very much, but you want to somehow have a neutral relationship with them. They could be your neighbours, they could be extended family members. So we're talking on that level, okay? Now I did this technique, the first one, I'll be sharing with you 3 techniques, okay? 3 techniques that you can be doing. And I'll be sharing a sort of like advanced level as well and a basic level as well. And the basic level technique I've done with my 11-year-old at the time, and she was having problems with someone we know. Obviously I don't want to say who it is because it'll be easy to figure out if that person finds this live stream. So we don't want to say details, but it was somebody she didn't, get along with, and it was always her. Walaikum assalam, Aisha, hope you're well. It was always my daughter taking everything the other way, like the negative way. And so this is what was happening. We were both observing the same behaviour from this person, and Faiza would say, oh gosh, she would just interpret it in such a negative way, as if that person was making a dig at them, for example, at her. And I was like, I'm watching the same behaviour, but I don't see that. So how are you seeing this, right? So I did this technique with her, and I'll share that with you. And she has made a shift in her approach towards this person, because you probably followed me for a while. I like to be more like how my faith tells me to be, as much as I can. And there are some relationships that we are not allowed to cut off. We can't cut off ties. Like, for example, if you don't like your siblings, you're not allowed to cut off ties. Although as tempted as it can be at times, this is a good technique if you're in that position, right? Where you want to maintain ties with your siblings, for example, you could distance yourself from them, but you want to maintain ties. You don't want to break ties. Neighbours is another example. We are supposed to be kind towards our neighbours, right? As long as they're living in peace as well. Like, in terms of they're not discriminating us, right? For whatever reason. But we are supposed to be living in peace and being there for each other, being kind to the neighbour. That's important, to the point where it's really important. I don't want to go into too detail because I'm not a scholar, but it is, and it's important for me to implement that And if I'm not doing it, if I'm not doing anything that I'm supposed to do according to my faith, I want to know why that is. I want to know what's in me that needs to be looked at. Lord, what do I need to change within me? What's the resistance in me? So there was some resistance in my little one, my little girl. And she was just really negative towards this person. And this went on for years. I mean, this was going on for a good 4 years, maybe 5 years. And then I did this technique with her probably 6 months ago, I think. And maybe less than 6 months ago. Probably less, maybe 4 months. Definitely more than 4 months ago. But anyway, detail doesn't matter how long ago, but it's worked. Because nothing else was working for her. She just kept on being defensive towards this person that she was supposed to be kind towards, right? So this is what I did. Number one, this is something you can do yourself. I've shared this before, and this is going to be in a different way again that I'm be sharing with you. Is number one, write down 21 things that you've seen good in that person that you are currently disliking or you're hating. 21, right? That's a big number for someone you do not like. You need to find 21 good things in them. Now, these 21 good things don't have to be what they've done to you. Like, there doesn't have to be, oh, she smiled at me, or he smiled at me, or, you know, I like the way, you know, whatever. It's just about them. It's about them. So it could be anything. It doesn't have to be how they were towards you. So 21 things you like about them or you found positive about them. And I told my 11-year-old at the time, no, she was 11, yeah, she was 11, to do this. She really struggled. I think she got to 7. I said, I'm not doing any more. Well, you carry on. Even if you have to repeat some of them, you still do it in different ways. Because what this does, it stacks the neurological pathways to think more positive about the person that you currently dislike. So the longer you're thinking about that person and what you like about that person, I mean, 21 things about that person can take you a while to do, right? Sometimes it might take you a few minutes, like 5 minutes, but it could take you a little bit longer, and the longer the better, really. So I think it probably took my 11-year-old about 20 minutes to do, because she was really like resistant towards it as well. She did not want to do it. And I kept that list for some time, and I think maybe a month ago, I got rid of it because I don't need it anymore. Because what I was going to do was, if she ever did show up with those behaviours towards this person again, or the attitude, I mean, more so, I would have showed her the list and told her to do 21 more things what she likes about that person. Because what that does is that the mind, you know, softens towards that person. Right, is probably the way I would say it, is that instead of looking at that person as survival mode, like they're dangerous, right, they've got so many bad things about them, your mind is forced to look at the good things about that person, right? And as you're looking at the good things, it almost like, you know, neutralizes how you behave, how you look at them, because that's what we want. We want you to neutralize yourself towards that person as much as you can, because every time you feel hatred, that's triggering off a negative emotion inside of you, right? When Faiza was seeing this person, she was feeling triggered by that person, and so she would get angry, right? She may not show it to that person always, but inside, I could see just by her body language, she was angry or frustrated, definitely, and that creates problems inside of us, right? I mean, we're self-respect if we allow ourselves to feel angry over somebody else's stuff, right? No, we want to feel empowered and happy all the time. Walaikum assalam, Sana, hope you are well. Walaikum assalam, Samia, hope you're well. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. She said full way, and I didn't. Okay, so 21 things, good things about that person. You do, but you do not stop, okay? And if you think you need more, just add on more, right? And you just check in. You'll feel really different about that person, because in reality, nobody is really all bad, like most people, right? We're not all bad. We might see a lot of their negative behaviours, but they still are, you know, they're not fully bad. There's always a positive intention behind every behaviour. So that's one thing you can do. And in the beginning, I used to tell all my clients to do this, about somebody they had, you know, they were in conflict with, just to get them into that place of empowerment, right? And then I would move on to the next step with my clients, is get to know that person's model of the world, okay? It'll increase compassion, and you'll be more, again, neutral towards them. So again, going back to the same person that my 11-year-old had conflict with, I was saying to her, okay, so what do you think, she could be coming from her model of the world? So like Faiza doesn't go to school, Faiza is homeschooled, so most of her influence is me, her dad, her cousins, people at the Quran class, at the Zikr gathering, right? So this person that she was in conflict with has a different social life. So I was not trying to, but getting Faiza, my eldest, into that place where she was able to, okay, so recognize this other person's model of the world, right? And that was useful for her at that time, because then she could see that, hey, that person doesn't have to be how I wanted to be, right? She's coming from a different place, she's got a different lifestyle, she's got a different social circle, and that affects her values, that affects how she talks. So everything comes into perspective, getting to know that other person's model of the world, just at the basic level. You don't need to know everything. I mean, this person that she was in conflict with, she didn't know everything about that person. She just knew bits and pieces, that this person goes to school, the age of this person, the background, because we knew where the family was from, and the cultural differences, and how, because of that, it influences how the person was behaving, which wasn't how Faiza wanted her to be, right? So getting to know the person's model of the world with whatever information you know also neutralizes how you behave towards them. So that's two. So number 3 is a deeper one, right? Now you can do this if you want to. It is really deep, and I wouldn't probably recommend it without someone you trust, maybe a coach, therapist. It'll help you really dig in. I wouldn't probably get a child to do this though. I didn't tell Faiza to do this. I probably will in the next year or so, because she's grown up now. She's going to be 13. But this is one thing you would do. Anything that you don't like about that person, like say you've done these 2 bits. You've done number 1, you've listed 21 things about this person that you like, that is positive, and then you've got to know their model of the world, number 2, and you still feel a bit about this person. You're not really sure if you can think positive about them fully yet, okay? Then you would move on to number 3, right? Is what about them? What about their personality do you dislike, right? And what emotion does it trigger off? Does it make you feel frustrated? Does it make you feel stressed? Sad, angry, what is it, right? And then you would check in, is that in you as well? Is that behavior that you dislike in the other person in you, right? Because perception is projection. Whatever you dislike in the other person, and you really have a emotional trigger behind it, you have it already in you. And now this took me a while to figure out. I mean, I've been in as a master coach for a while, as an NLP coach. I know my first practitioner level was in 2018, so nearly 3 years. This took me a while to figure out, and I couldn't get it until I was on the other side, right? Because when you, for example, get triggered by somebody's behavior, and you're really triggered by that behavior emotionally, you either are triggered by it, right? Or you just let it be. It's like, okay, that's how they are. That's nothing. You would just observe them. Nothing about that behavior would trigger you off. You would either just be flexible around them, like say, for example, if they are, I don't know, always late, and before it would trigger you so much, okay, emotionally, where you're like, maybe you would have an argument about it. And if you realize that's in you as well, you would work on it. And then if they do happen to be late again, once you've worked on it, you would just be flexible. You would like, okay, let's just put in, let's just get together. Let's meet up 30 minutes before, and then they'll probably turn up on time. Okay, so you would just observe them and just work around their behavior. You wouldn't feel triggered by it. You would think of it as an inconvenience, perhaps. Oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna do this, but you wouldn't like start an argument about it, or you wouldn't. It wouldn't control you. You won't control your behaviours in a negative way. You would be in control, right? This is how I want to behave with this person. So what about you that you dislike is in them, but it's also in you. Because once you deal with it in you, you won't feel emotionally triggered by them. And this is work that was done by Carl Jung years ago. I think it was in the late, oh gosh, I need to find out which year it was. Late 1800s or early 1900s. And the work was done that whatever you don't like about the other person or people is usually in you, and your unconscious mind is telling you to work on it. That's why it's presenting it to you. And I've talked about this before, especially around relatives. So there was one relative that I was talking about who was really complaining about a habit about somebody else. And I was listening to her complaining, and I goes, oh my gosh, even she does that as well. Does she not know that? But she was really upset about this one behaviour that she was complaining about her nephew, let's just say her nephew was doing. And yet she does it all the time. And it was just so amazing for me to see this perception as projection in action, as an observer, just an observer. Because obviously when I'm doing it, I am the other person, but looking at it as an observer, as somebody else, complaining about somebody else who they also have that behaviour of, was a different situation. So Carl Jung's work, read it, check it out. Perception as projection is what it's covered. So if you really are triggered by that other person, just check in, do you do that as well? Because most likely is you probably are. And then work on it. So the number 3 is pretty deep, but you could take away as many as you need from these 3 tips to help you feel neutral about somebody that you don't really like or you think you hate right now. Hope this was useful. If you do find it useful, let me know in the comments. Anything that I've missed, any questions that you have, you can put them in the comments or just reach out to me, and I will catch you in the next video.